the mud bogger is a different breed of racer. In this brand of motorsport, the lure of big money sponsorship is still just out of reach. But the racing tradition is rich, and in this crowd, individualism is part of the unconventional landscape, because here you run for the love of going fast, and that rebel streak is worn like racing Nomex, helping to shield against what speed may surrender. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the best in NMRO mud racing. Today, it's the four-wheel Jamboree Summer Nationals at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. We come out of Lima, Ohio, with all the mechanical carnage and head straight to a concrete wall, or a stage, as the case may be here in Bloomsburg. And I have to question, are these NMRO mud racers just a bit gun-shy when they come to this facility? Well, to ask Army Armstrong, apparently they can't afford to be gun-shy.
Living on the edge, Gary Lee, that kind of tells you the caliber of individuals that drive these professional mud vehicles. To make a long story short, basically it's a short philosophy to life. You get in, you sit down, you buckle up, you shut up, and you hang on, because your fame is only going to come not in 15-minute shots, 3.5 seconds at a time. These guys got a little bit of kamikaze in them, Gary. You're going to see what I mean this afternoon. Back to you.
A lot of factors to work with today, Army. The track is oversaturated. It is a mess, but the major concern is that concrete wall there at the stage just off to the right of the right-hand lane. Tom Marsh is at the starting line, and earlier Army had a chance to visit the cockpit of the Intruder.
Gary, we commandeered Tom Marsh's Intruder vehicle to show the folks on the Nashville Network exactly what the working compartment's like on one of these things. Come here, I want to show you something. I think you'd find it interesting. First and foremost, safety. Notice they got a fire bottle here. You pull this pin, you pull this pin, it'll automatically shut it off. You start the vehicle with the start button here. You actually kill the vehicle with this button here. Very simple in the instrumentation. You got a brake on the left foot, just like a car. There's only one gauge. It's an oil pressure gauge. Notice it right here? But the interesting point is right there. The yellow light indicates that the transmission is in neutral. This transmission has reverse, neutral, and direct drive. It's not like a regular car. When you put this vehicle in direct drive, it's like winding up a rubber band on an airplane. The harder you go, the further it goes, the harder it goes. So it's just full, straight engine power. It goes directly to the rear wheels. Now, I want to show you something that's interesting. In order to shut the engine off, you push this button right here, and what that does, that starves the engine for fuel. It leans the engine out. So when a driver goes through, he'll lean the engine out that way, not actually turn it off with a key like you and I would do at home. There is another interesting fact here. Right where my finger is, there used to be a button. It's not a button there anymore. Why am I talking about it? Very simple. The drivers have found by keeping the single transmission like we talked about, the Lenco, with just one drive gear, you can hold on to the steering wheel with both hands. When the button used to be here, it activated a 2-speed transmission, and the driver would actually have to let go of the steering wheel to activate that button. Not a good thing to do when these rides are only 2.5 or 3 seconds long at about 118 to 119 mile an hour. Well, time to go to work. We're going to turn this thing back over to Tom Marsh, and I'm going to get to the high ground. Gary, back to you.
Heck, Army, you look right at home there in the cockpit. There's Tom in the Intruder alongside his Mike COMELLA in Bonkers. Mike comes out of the Buckeye State of Ohio. He will be in the lane nearest our camera. And to his left, on a very tacky racetrack, Tom Marsh in the Intruder.
These guys do the first two positions, so everybody in the back of the field is watching to see what the track is going to do. COMELLA broke. Marsh goes through good, but that tacky mud you're talking about, a 313, when we talk tacky mud, what we're meaning is the mud sticks on whatever it touches. It won't blow off. That's why they call it tacky.
Well, Mike COMELLA is stuck in the mud. Look off to your left. You'll see him brake just past the start. And Marsh comes through with that 313. And let's go down trackside now, Army.
Tom, the track just really looked like it was sloppy out there for you.
Yeah, it's really a lot rougher than it looks, Army. I really thought it was going to be a nice, smooth ride, and it didn't turn out that way at all.
Halfway through, you actually took your hand off the steering wheel to kick the visor back up. You just lose sight?
Yeah, it did. It really scared me there for a minute, you know, and you're going that fast, and it really starts to kick in, and all of a sudden it goes dark. You know, it gets a little scary out there.
So is that what we call blinding speed? We'll come back with more from Bloomsburg. Welcome back to Bloomsburg, where Ford Trucks present the McCarthy Tire Summer 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals. As we go back to the racetrack, far lane, that is Tom Meents in Mud Patrol II, and look at the wing.
Gary, you know, the wing, as they call it in this sport, is designed to put downforce on a vehicle. Sprint cars are very successful with it, but in mud racing, I'm not sure it's exactly what you want. You want to lift the car, not push it into the track.
Well, that wing is a trademark of car owner Paul Schaefer. Now, Tom Meents in Mud Patrol II will be competing in 2 vehicles today. Good thing he's not running back-to-back. He's teamed up with his dad to campaign 2 cars on the mud circuit. This should work to Tom's advantage today with the sloppy conditions. Now, bear in mind, Tom Martin also competes in the machine called the Mud Patrol. So now we have 3 of those vehicles with the same name patrolling the pits. And there is a look at Brian Maeda. Will be in the near lane, and this is Foolish Pleasure.
Love the name. Foolish Pleasure, Mud Patrol, one with the wing, one without a wing. This sport is going by leaps and bounds. This is why right here.
He lays down a good run.
That wing didn't seem to hurt him one bit. He laid down a straight run, too.
Yeah, 3:154. 3:15 for Tom Meents. And there's Brian Maeda's 3.814. Next up, a guy we've seen win here before in Bloomsburg, Al Ash. But first, let's go trackside and talk with Tom Meents. Army?
A 3.15, it looked like it had a lot of porpoise into it out there.
Yeah, left lane's got like hills underneath where you can't see in the mud, you know, and when you're running down through the mud, there's like little hills there, and you keep, you know, going airborne every time.
Okay, now, will you knock that hill down to make the track better later in the field?
Yeah, it's possible it might get better, but one of the things that, you know, once mud starts getting thrown out of the ruts, there ain't nothing to hook on to, you know.
There's the advantage of having 2 vehicles in the competition.
Yeah, but that wing pushed him down into those mountains he was talking about, Gary.
There's a good look at Living on the Edge, Dan Fuchs mount. That's the car that Army was standing next to in his open for our program today. And there's a look at Dan Fuchs out of the Illini State, Living on the Edge. And he pulls up against Al Ash. Now, Al had a nasty flip in Lima, made a hard right in the near lane and went on over, laughed about it. But you could tell he was shaken up, but otherwise uninjured. So Al Ash and Dan Fuchs.
Ash is out of Pennsylvania, kind of a home state boy here. Runs good on this track. Not afraid of that wall. You got to remember, in the right lane at the end of the track's a big old wall. We got a good race, Gary.
Oh, it's an excellent. Hang
Whoa.
on. Hang on. Oh, Fuchs spins around, slides to a stop. I thought he was going on over. There is his time at 3.28, but I thought for sure he might tuck that right rear and flip her on over.
Check this out.
3.059. Oh, what a great ride for Big Al Ash. Take a look again at how close this is.
Boy, they raced each other out that other end. Big Al is back in town. Check that out. A 3:05. That's awesome, Gary.
Well, let's go back trackside, Army.
The number 3:05 puts you quick today. That may just hold out for you.
It might. I don't know. The hole's pretty soupy right now. I don't know if it's going to clear out and get more tackier. It might that might happen. It might get slicker yet. I don't know. I hope it holds. We'll see.
Well, that one could be tough to beat as the competition continues here in Bloomsburg. As we take a look at Jeff TOBOLL in Dirty Deeds. There is a Jeep fiberglass body, and there's a look at Jeff out of Maryland in the Dirty Deeds Jeep. And he'll be pulling alongside Grounds for Divorce, Tom Ball. I love the name of some of these vehicles.
There we go again with those names. Both of these vehicles, as Tom Ball's car comes up out of Bowling Green, Virginia, remind me that this event at Bloomsburg is so big. We get a chance to see a lot of racers we don't get to see. They run on a regional basis, but Bloomsburg seems to be a magnet of all the bad guys, and this is where they show up, and this is why. Check it out, Gary.
The bad guys are good, but hang on. We trouble right there as Ball went over the berm in his Grounds for Divorce. So he is disqualified as he's out there in the mud. He'll have to climb out and get his shoes all muddy now. As we take a look again, a good tight shot. Now, he looks like he's in trouble right from the start.
Yeah, the front tires were cocked just a little bit, and he hooks a rut. That's it. Katie, bar the door. 110 pages of Dear John. We're going out of this thing.
So we'll clean up this mess and come back with more from Bloomsburg as we're living on the edge.